On the day of the Imperial Polo Tournament, I secretly loosened the saddle on General Li Wei's prized steed, causing him to fail spectacularly, lose first place, and miss his chance to impress the Emperor. But he didn't blame me, only smiling and saying that one shouldn't force what fate doesn't intend. He still married me cheerfully, and we were a loving, respectful couple. Everyone said that, if not for my meddling, he would have become the princess's consort, not just a minor general. Until my father was charged with treason, and my entire family, the Shen family, was sentenced to execution. I begged Li Wei to submit a petition on their behalf, but he grabbed me by the throat and said, "If it weren't for you, I would have been a powerful figure in the capital by now. Blame yourself for making me lose that polo tournament, for costing me the chance to be chosen by Princess Anling as her consort." Only then did I realize he had hated me for all those years. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the polo tournament. This time, I would make sure Li Wei got everything he ever wanted. "First place in the polo tournament, Li Wei!" The herald announced the winner's name loudly from the stage. Li Wei stepped forward from the ranks. He was tall and handsome, and now, having won first place, he was brimming with confidence. As he stood there, the noble ladies of the capital blushed. I watched him raise an eyebrow, his gaze falling upon Princess Anling beside me, his eyes filled with a brilliant light, the ambition of one determined to seize power. Princess Anling covered her face with a fan and asked me, "Meilin, what do you think of this Li Wei?" I smiled faintly. "General Li is exceptionally valiant, the most suitable one to be the princess's consort. Congratulations, Your Highness, on finding your heart's desire." Princess Anling tapped me playfully. "And you, have you set your sights on any young lord? I can have father arrange a marriage for you." Arrange a marriage for me. I looked down at the crowd below the stage. The young masters from prominent families were excitedly discussing the match. Among them, the young cavalry general Han Zhang stood with his head bowed in silence. In my past life, he had been chosen as the princess's consort after winning first place. From that day on, his military career was over. He could no longer ride onto the battlefield or command troops. Trapped in the capital by Princess Anling, holding a meaningless post, he became a laughingstock in everyone's eyes, a kept man who relied on the princess. After marrying the princess a few years, he died of despair. What was poison to him was honey to Li Wei. This polo tournament was meant to select a consort for the princess, a fact known to any noble family with connections, all of whom had instructed their sons to avoid the spotlight. In my past life, Han Zhang had known nothing of this, playing his heart out simply to win, only to pay with his entire life. But this time, the outcome would be completely different. Thinking back on the match, Han Zhang had clearly held back, making frequent mistakes and missing opportunities. The message I had someone deliver to him last night must have given him pause. He was determined not to win this tournament no matter what. Li Wei was now kneeling triumphantly below the stage to receive his reward. The herald cleared his throat. "By the grace of heaven, the Emperor proclaims, Li Wei, a junior general of the Western garrison, is loyal, brave, and of upstanding character. We hereby appoint you as royal consort. You shall uphold your duties as a husband and maintain harmony in your household, by imperial command." A wave of murmurs swept through the young nobles below the stage. They never expected the prize for first place to be the position of princess's consort. Whether it was a reward or a punishment, only the recipient truly knew. Only Li Wei was overjoyed, kowtowing in gratitude. "Thank you, Your Majesty, for your immense grace." He accepted the edict with delight. He looked up, his gaze fixed in our direction. Anling shyly lowered her head and made her way toward the gardens behind us. At her signal, a palace maid approached Li Wei and whispered a few words. Li Wei stood up excitedly and hurried after the princess. I smiled faintly. This time Li Wei had finally become the princess's consort as he wished. I wondered how long that smile would last. Li Wei came from a poor background, having climbed to his current position through military merit alone. He believed that becoming the consort would lead to high office and great wealth. He didn't know that for a consort in this dynasty, the title signified that he could never again hold a position at court, only assign care with a stipend. His duty was to be a docile accessory to the princess, with no life of his own. He had been a frequent visitor to our home because he was a brother-in-arms to my older brother, and we had somewhat of a childhood friendship. After returning to my residence, Li Wei came to see me just as I expected, brimming with excitement. "Malin, I'm going to be the princess's consort. Are you happy for me?" I nodded happily. "Congratulations! Now that you've won Princess Anling's favor, your future is set for a meteoric rise." He looked at me, hesitating. "I know you have feelings for me, but you understand my situation. I fought with blood and sweat to become a mere junior general. Who knows when I'll ever become a grand marshal? But now things are different. Once I'm the consort, promotions will surely be easier. When I have more power, I will speak to the princess and ask to marry you as well. How does that sound?" I almost laughed out loud. I was a lady, the princess's closest confidant. What a pipe dream. He was to be the princess's consort, and he dared to speak of marrying me? My maid, Yingwei, couldn't help but speak up. "General, watch your words. You are marrying the princess. Do you not know that a consort cannot have concubines, let alone a second wife of equal standing? That is a crime punishable by the execution of one's entire clan. Our mistress is Lady Shen. You wish to marry her? Where did you get such audacity?" Yingrei's words made Li Wei's face turn pale, then flush with anger. He flicked his sleeve. "What does a mere maid like you know? Even if An Ling is a princess, a wife must obey her husband. If I wish to take a concubine, she dares to object? Even the emperor's daughter cannot be so jealous." He looked at me again. "Don't worry, I will definitely marry you. You just need to wait for me patiently for a little while." Li Wei was completely deaf to reason, his mind filled with dreams of power and glory. Ever since he received the imperial edict, more and more people in the capital sought to curry favor with him, because ingratiating themselves with him was a path to Princess An Ling, the emperor's only and most cherished daughter. But Li Wei, in his delirium, believed they were recognizing his abilities and seeking his friendship. Meanwhile, I had an unexpected encounter with Han Zheng. I was in a bookshop, having written a list of books for the clerk to find for me. Han Zheng entered, and when he saw the list I had written myself, his expression changed. After I had boarded my carriage to go home, he suddenly dashed out and jumped inside, his eyes fixed on my face. "The message that day, was it you, my lady, who sent it?" I was startled, but quickly composed myself. I believe a general's ambitions lie across the four corners of the land, not cooped up in one place like a caged eagle. My father always said General Han is a natural-born commander. I was merely lamenting the waste of talent, which is why I sent the message. But whether to forsake such immense fortune was ultimately the general's own decision. Han Zheng looked at me deeply and bowed. "Thank you, my lady, for your help. If there is ever anything I can do for you in the future, you need only ask." With that, he untied a jade pendant, handed it to me, and leaped from the carriage. The arrangements for Li Wei's marriage to the Princess An Ling proceeded step by step under the Ministry of Rites. Li Wei spent his days accompanying Princess An Ling, admiring flowers, viewing the moon, hiking, and enjoying the spring scenery outside the city. He charmed her so completely that she was all smiles and wished they could be married at once. This continued until the palace banquet. The emperor, seeing Princess An Ling and Li Wei laughing together, was in high spirits and asked Li Wei, "Now that you are soon to be the princess's consort, is there any reward you desire?" Full of vigor, Li Wei knelt in the hall. "Your Majesty, your subject is a military man and wishes to serve you with utmost loyalty. I have heard that IWas is constantly under attack from foreign enemies. Your subject wishes to go to IWas and fight after the wedding." The hall fell silent. Then someone chuckled. Soon even the emperor was shaking his head with a smile. "All right, I know you are a loyal subject, but now that you are the princess's consort, how can you still lead troops into battle?" A military official stepped forward and laughed. From now on, you just need to be a good consort here in the capital. Leave the fighting and killing to us. Anling shyly pulled him back to his seat, chiding him playfully. Must you show your loyalty at a time like this? Father knows you are a loyal subject, but you're about to become the consort. How could he possibly send you away? Li Wei was stunned. He tried to argue, but I am a military officer. It is my duty to fight on the battlefield. The princess laughed freely. You silly man. Have you ever heard of a consort in this dynasty who could still serve as an official or general at court? Once you are the consort, being a wealthy and idle nobleman is enough. The color slowly drained from Li Wei's face as understanding dawned. He downed cup after cup of wine, and by the time he left the palace, he was thoroughly drunk. When I was leaving, he was waiting by my carriage. Seeing me, he rushed over, his face flushed and his eyes bloodshot. Malin, did you know? Did you know that becoming the consort means you can no longer hold office at court? I tilted my head, looking at him. Everyone knows that. How could you not? He shouted, Did you know from the beginning that the polo tournament was held to select a consort for Princess Anling? Why didn't you tell me? How can I be a useless idle nobleman? I am meant to be a great general, a grand marshal one day. How could I become a consort? I saw someone approaching from behind him. My eyes reddened as I backed away step by step. General, what is the matter with you? It is an honor to be the princess's consort, to receive her highness's favor. Is that not better than chasing after fame and fortune? He yelled, No, I don't want it. If I had known this would be the result of marrying the princess, I would not have won that match, nor would I have agreed to be the consort. Behind him, Princess Anling's face had turned dark. What did you say, Li Wei? You are unwilling to be my consort? So all your sweet words these past few days were lies to deceive me? Me? You said being my consort was your greatest wish, that you wanted to be with me and me alone for a lifetime. Was it all because you thought it would be a shortcut to power? The princess's appearance sobered Li Wei instantly. His face went ashen, and he fell to his knees. Please forgive me, Your Highness. I deserve to die. Princess Anling sneered. You certainly do. You have committed the crime of deceiving the sovereign. Terrified, Li Wei broke out in a cold sweat, stammering, unable to think of what to do. Seeing me standing nearby, he pointed at me as if clutching a life-saving straw. Princess, Malin and I are in love and we're already betrothed. She was crying to me and I couldn't bear to break her heart. I beg for your understanding, Your Highness. A chill ran down my spine. It wasn't enough that Li Wei had made me suffer so much in my past life. Now he wanted to drag me into the mud with him in this one. Anling looked at me, her expression hostile. Malin, you deceived me too. You were betrothed to him. I quickly took a step back. General, be careful what you say. When were we ever in love and betrothed? Our families are merely acquaintances. You are my brother's friend, which is how I came to know you. When did I ever have feelings for you? Li Wei grabbed my arm. Malin, I know you like me. I once mentioned wanting to propose to your family, and you didn't object, did you? I retorted sharply. Nonsense. How could an unmarried young lady like myself discuss marriage with you? Marriages are arranged by parents and matchmakers. What young lady decides such matters for herself? I saw the look in the princess's eyes grow colder and knew this was bad. Although Anling and I were close friends, she was royalty, accustomed to getting whatever she wanted. No one had ever dared to deceive her like this. If she believed I had feelings for Li Wei, she would surely not spare me. I violently shook off Li Wei's hand. What a shameless, despicable man. I retreated a few steps, took a deep breath, and bowed deeply to the princess. Your Highness, do you remember on the day of the polo tournament, you asked if I had my eye on any young lord and said you would ask the emperor to arrange a marriage for me? The truth is, I was just too shy to say it then. I already have someone I love in my heart. We are in love and have privately pledged our lives to each other. He just wanted to earn more military honors before coming to my family to propose. Princess Anling was skeptical. Oh, and who might that be? Li Wei also shouted, "Do you think the princess will believe you just because you invent someone out of thin air? Stop talking nonsense, or you'll make the princess angrier." I took the jade pendant from my purse and presented it to the princess. The man I love is the cavalry general, Han Zheng. The character for Han carved on the pendant was proof enough. Princess Anling's expression softened considerably. She looked at me with mock reproach. You had someone you admired and didn't say a word. If not for this scene today, how much longer were you going to keep it from me? As for your marriage to General Han, I will speak to father another day. He will surely grant you a marriage degree." As soon as she finished speaking, Li Wei cried out, "Princess, Mei Lin is lying. The one she loves is clearly me. She's just afraid of your anger. Please see the truth, Your Highness, and don't break up a pair of lovers like Mei Lin and me." "I was not aware that my betrothed was a pair of lovers with you." A man's voice came from behind me. I turned around. It was Han Zheng. He came forward to stand beside me and bowed to the princess. "Your Highness, Mei Lin and I have long had an agreement. I was to propose to her family as soon as I returned from my next campaign." With that, he stepped in front of me, shielding me. He walked over to Li Wei and said in a voice only they could hear, "Li Wei, the crime of deceiving the sovereign is punishable by the execution of your entire clan. You should think carefully." Li Wei's face went pale to red and back again. The wine had completely worn off. Han Yan straightened up and said with a smile, "General Li has been speaking nonsense tonight. I'm afraid he's had too much to drink." Li Wei took the cue and slumped against Han Zheng, muttering something. Han Zheng leaned in to listen, then smiled again. "Princess, General Li is now saying how much he loves you and wants to be with you for a lifetime. He's very drunk. It's best we send him home." Hearing that Li Wei was murmuring words of love for her, the princess's mood brightened. She waved her hand. "Guards, carry the general to the carriage. I will escort him home." As Princess Anling's carriage disappeared into the distance, Han Zheng and I breathed a sigh of relief. I looked at him apologetically. "General Han, I'm sorry. I had no choice but to use you as a shield just now. I'm afraid I've caused you trouble."
Han Zheng smiled. "What is there for a man like me to fear? I am more concerned about your reputation. If the princess spreads this matter, it could be detrimental to you." I frowned. As long as I am not associated with a scoundrel like Li Wei, what do I have to fear? Han Zheng helped me into my carriage. Inside, he thought for a moment before saying, "I suspect this matter will not be resolved so easily. My family background is clean and my parents are reasonable people. I have no concubines. If you are willing, I will send a matchmaker to your home tomorrow to propose. I fear that if we delay, Li Wei, being a man of wicked character, might resort to some despicable trick to ruin your name." I looked at the man before me. In our last life, Han Zheng had died of despair as a consort, while I was killed for thwarting Li Wei's ambitions. In this life, I wanted a different path. I nodded. "Then, please, General, send the matchmaker tomorrow." My engagement to Han Zheng was settled quickly. With Princess Anling's help, the Emperor even graced us with an imperial edict for our marriage, allowing us to choose an auspicious day to wed. Meanwhile, the wedding day for Princess Anling and Li Wei arrived. As the Emperor's only daughter, Princess Anling's mansion was magnificent. I looked at the 3 large characters spelling out Princess's residence and smiled. "Li Wei, you got your wish this time. Go on and dream your dreams of power in the splendid golden cage. Let's see if you come to regret it." Anling was fond of Li Wei, and after their marriage, her wish was fulfilled. She was in high spirits, hosting banquets at her residence every few days. Li Wei was always by her side, listening to the noble ladies praise the princess for her good marriage and her skill in managing her husband. At these banquets, Anling would even have Li Wei perform archery for the ladies. She meant it as a way to show him off, but in Li Wei's eyes, it was the greatest irony and humiliation. Yet, he could endure it in silence. Li Wei's expression grew darker by the day. Meanwhile, Han Zheng received an imperial edict to depart for Jade Pass. Before leaving, he came to see me. "Wait for me to return with military honors to marry you. I will earn you the title of a titled lady." I sewed a peace talisman I had prayed for at the temple into the lapel of his coat and gave it to him. "The border is cold. Take care of your health. Military honors don't matter. What matters is that you return safely." In the crowd seeing him off, I saw Li Wei sitting in a tavern near the city gate tower. He watched Han Zheng's departing figure with eyes full of envy and rage, downing cup after cup of wine. The Princess Anling and her consort appeared to be a loving couple, but after several months of marriage, she still showed no signs of pregnancy. The princess grew anxious, summoning the imperial physician to her residence daily for examinations and drinking bowl after bowl of bitter medicine to no avail. I looked at the scenery outside and tried to comfort her. "Why don't you visit a temple to pray? I hear the goddess of mercy at Serene Cloud Temple outside the city is very efficacious for those seeking children. But if your highness goes with a grand entourage, it might disturb the deities. How about we go quietly, with just a small escort?" I accompanied the princess quietly to Serene Cloud Temple. As we walked up the mountain path, we saw other couples supporting each other. They were people who had made wishes, conceived, and were now returning to give thanks. We burned incense and kowtowed before the Buddha. As we were about to walk toward the back of the mountain from the main hall, we saw a man and a woman approaching, supporting each other. The man said, tenderly, "Quilin, you are still in your early months. I told you we could wait until the pregnancy is more stable before coming." The woman named Quilin smiled, "But it was the Bodhisattva's blessing that I conceived. Of course we must come quickly and sincerely to give thanks. My dear husband, do you think it's a boy or a girl?" The man laughed. "Boy or girl, it is my own flesh and blood. I will cherish it all the same." Princess Anling's face turned deathly pale. She stared in shock at the couple. The man was none other than her consort, Li Wei.
Ailing gripped my hand tightly. "Mei Lin, is that man the consort? Am I seeing things?" I looked at her with sympathy and whispered, "Your Highness, perhaps it's a misunderstanding. Why don't you calm down first and ask the consort about it properly when you return to the residence? This is Serene Cloud Temple. It's not a place for a scene. We shouldn't disturb the sanctity of this place." Ailing, who deeply believed in such things, bit her lip and said through tears, "Let's go." She turned and left the temple, instructing her guards, "Follow the consort. Keep a close watch on his every move." The princess was royalty, after all. With a single command, the entire matter was investigated and laid bare on her table within half a day. It turned out that Kulian was a mistress Li Wei had been keeping outside since their marriage. She was already 3 months pregnant, meaning Li Wei had taken a mistress just months after becoming the consort. For Ailing, this was an unbearable humiliation. When Li Wei returned to the princess's residence, he was kicked out by the guards at the gate before he could even step inside. He fell to the ground outside, clutching his chest. A crowd gathered as people saw the consort being thrown out. Li Wei was furious. "Insolence! I am the princess's consort. How dare you lay a hand on me? If the princess finds out, she will have you executed." The guard's face was impassive. "The princess has ordered that the consort is not to enter the residence. Perhaps the consort should think about what he has done wrong." Li Wei said in disbelief. "Impossible. How could I have done anything to wrong the princess? Move aside and let me in to explain. It must be a misunderstanding." He caused a commotion at the gate until the princess herself came out. A maid placed a cushioned stool outside for her to sit on. The princess looked at Li Wei, her face cold as ice. "Li Wei,
Do you know a woman named Zulian from the estate outside the city? Is the child in her belly your flesh and blood?" Her words struck Li Wei like a bolt from the blue. His face turned ashen and he collapsed to the ground, then immediately crawled on his knees before the princess. "Anling, it's all a misunderstanding." Slap. A loud slap landed on his face. Anling looked at him coldly. "Today, Meilin and I went to Serene Cloud Temple and happened to see you helping a woman out, saying she was carrying your child, and that you were there to give thanks. Why do you not dare to admit it now?" Li Wei shook his head. "She is merely the widow of a fallen comrade. I was just looking after her. The child in her belly belongs to another man. How could it be mine? I have always been loyal to you, Your Highness. Don't listen to other slander." He looked at me standing to the side and pointed an accusing finger. "Was it Meilin who said something?" "Princess, I told you Meilin has always been in love with me. She resents me for not being able to marry her and is now slandering me with this mistress story. Please see the truth, Your Highness. There is no such thing." He shifted the blame completely. I put on an innocent expression. "Princess, this has nothing to do with me. You know I was with you the entire time today. How can the consort accuse me so wrongly?" Anling, of course, didn't believe him. "Mei Lin was with me the whole time. Did she make Zulian pregnant, or did she arrange for you two to appear before me, acting so intimately? I thought that after you became my consort, we would be a loving couple. I never imagined you would be so heartless as to take a mistress right after our wedding. How could you do this to me?" Li Wei kowtowed repeatedly, trying to explain. "Princess, I've been wronged. I met Zulian when Meilin's brother took me drinking at a pleasure house. I got drunk, and when I awoke, Zulian was lying next to me. I don't remember what happened. Later, she said she was carrying my child and asked me to buy her freedom. I was truly forced into it. It must have been Meilin's brother who plotted against me. And who knows whose child is in Zulian's belly? It definitely can't be mine." "Longjin, what are you saying?" A delicate voice spoke weakly from behind him. It was Zulian whom I had sent someone to fetch from the estate outside the city. Tears in her eyes, she cradled her belly. "This child is clearly yours. How can you say such a thing? It was you who bought my freedom from the brothel. You said your wife couldn't bear you children, and that you wanted me to give you a son or daughter, after which you would bring me into your household. You said all these things. How could you forget? If not for your sweet words, why would I have turned down others and let you buy my freedom, content to be your mistress?" With every word she spoke, Li Wei's face grew paler. Princess Anling sneered. "I can't bear children, so you found a mistress to have children with outside, planning to bring her into the household when the time was right? I had no idea my consort was so calculating, so full of schemes. Guards, seize the consort and give him a harsh beating." Li Wei struggled desperately, shouting, "Anling, it's true you can't have children. Am I supposed to let the Li family line die out?" Slap. The princess struck him again. "Nonsense. Who told you I cannot bear children?" I stood behind the princess, watching Li Wei kneeling before us, his face full of indignation. He had heard from a palace maid that the princess was infertile, and believing it to be true, had decided to keep a mistress. The fact that the princess hadn't conceived after half a year of marriage only confirmed the rumor in his mind. He planned to wait for Zulian to give birth, then find a way to bring her into the household. Then he would reveal the princess's infertility. Even the emperor couldn't side with his own daughter and allow a family line to be severed. But what he didn't know was that the gossiping palace maid had been sent by me. I had arranged for him to overhear their conversation to make him believe it was true. Li Wei shouted before the crowd, "If you can bear children, why haven't you conceived when I've spent every night in your chambers? Do you dare let a doctor check your pulse in front of everyone? Not the imperial physicians. They're all on your side. I'll find a doctor from the Hall of Renewal. Do you dare?" Said she only needs to recuperate, and in time she will be able to conceive. Yet you speak such slander, defaming her purity. Li Wei said smugly, "I heard this from a palace maid in the princess's own residence. How could it be false? You think you can hide it from me? In your dreams." Though An Ling was a princess, she was still a woman, and a woman in love at that. With red-rimmed eyes, she said, "Fine, call the doctors. Check my pulse in front of everyone. Li Wei, if there is nothing wrong with my health, I will hold your entire Li clan accountable." The imperial physician who had been summoned to check her pulse repeatedly said, "Where did the consort hear such rumors? Her Highness is merely unwell. After another half a year of recuperation, she will be fine. How could it be said that she cannot conceive?" Li Wei tilted his head back. "You are an imperial physician. Of course you would speak for the princess. I don't trust you." The physician's beard trembled with anger. "I have practiced medicine for decades, and this is the first time someone has accused me of being untrustworthy. Fine, I'd like to see what others can diagnose." Doctors from the Hall of Renewal and the Hall of Peaceful Assurance arrived quickly. A maid was about to set up a screen, but the princess stopped her. "No need. Do it just like this in front of everyone." The two doctors were the most famous gynecologists in the capital. They both took her pulse carefully and came to the same conclusion. The princess's health is fine. She is merely suffering from a deficiency of qi and blood and a slight chill. A course of medicine to regulate her system for a period of time will solve the problem. Who said she cannot conceive? What quackery! Li Wei was stunned. "Impossible! It's clearly her who can't have children. You're all lying. You've all been blinded by wealth and status, spouting nonsense." The doctors were furious. "We have practiced medicine in the capital for many years, and not a single patient has ever accused us of bowing to wealth and status." The onlookers could no longer stand it. "This consort is truly heartless. He keeps a mistress and then falsely accuses the princess of being infertile. He's the one who's a scoundrel, yet he blames others. Shameless. If I were the princess, I'd have him arrested. Disgusting. He's trying to cover his own mistakes by attacking others. How utterly shameless." The doctor from the Hall of Peaceful Assurance looked closely at Li Wei's face and remarked, "I think there might be a problem with the consort's health. Why don't you let this old man check your pulse? From what I see, you seem to be the one who is unlikely to father children." His words sent the crowd into an uproar. No way! Could it be the consort who was infertile? Impossible! Then how did that mistress get pregnant? That mistress was a courtesan. Who knows whose child is in her belly? Li Wei leapt to his feet. "Nonsense! Kulian is carrying my child. How could I be unable to have children?" The princess waved her hand. "Have the consort's pulse checked by the doctor." The guards ignored Li Wei's struggles and dragged him over for the examination. After a moment, the doctor looked as if his suspicions were confirmed. "My reading of his features was correct. The consort appears strong on the outside, but is weak within, lacking in vital energy. He is indeed unable to father children. No wonder the princess has not conceived. The reason lies with the consort." The moment he finished, the crowd exploded. Heavens! So the princess is cleared of all blame. It was the consort who was impotent. Hilarious. So the child his mistress is carrying isn't even his. A consort who can't even produce an heir. The princess should divorce him immediately and find another. Li Wei's face was ashen as he pointed at Kulian. "You are lying. If I have a problem, then where did her pregnancy come from?" Kulian trembled and shrank to the side, not daring to speak. The princess, however, let out a breath of relief, looking refreshed as she addressed Kulian. "I will spare your life. Tell the truth. Whose child are you carrying?" Kulian whispered, "Although the consort bought my freedom, he only visited me a few times a month, so sometimes I secretly entertained other clients." The implication was clear. She had no idea who the father was. Lu Wei lunged at her, grabbing her by the throat. You dared to cuckold me, carrying another man's bastard and claiming it's mine, cheating me out of so much money? Kulian broke free from his grasp, crying out, cheating you of money? You bought my freedom, but only gave me a few taels of silver each month. What is that enough for? I thought you were the princess's consort with boundless wealth. Instead, I had to eat vegetables and tofu every other day. I came to you to live a life of luxury, not to eat scraps. You couldn't give me money, so you wouldn't even let me earn it myself? Li Wei and Kuilian grappled with each other. He was a military man, and his fists and feet flew. Kuilian was knocked to the ground, clutching her stomach and screaming in pain. Blood flowed from between her legs. She was having a miscarriage. Li Wei kicked her in the stomach again. The princess shouted sharply, "Enough! Seize the consort!" Li Wei, as the princess's consort, you have dared to commit insubordination, keeping a mistress behind my back. According to the laws of this dynasty, a consort who does so shall be executed. Li Wei collapsed to the ground, limp, begging, "Princess, I truly love you. I just wanted a child to raise by your side. I never meant to disrespect you." Angling sneered, "A man like you truly disgusts me. Someone, bring me a brush and paper. I am divorcing this consort. Send him to the capital magistrate's office and tell Magistrate Lin to deal with him according to the law." Li Wei's face was devoid of color. He screamed, "Spare me, princess! I was framed! Someone deliberately made me misunderstand. Princess, you said you loved me, that you wanted to be with me for a lifetime. Have you forgotten?" I said sternly, "Gag him at once, lest he further vex the princess." A dirty rag was stuffed into Li Wei's mouth, and he was dragged away like a sack of mud. Angling divorced Li Wei. For his crimes, he was sentenced to beheading in 3 days. The Li family's assets were confiscated. He had no other relatives, only a few old servants who were sold off. Before his execution, Li Wei requested to see me one last time. I went to the imperial prison and saw him covered in filth, a wretched sight. He had been subjected to all manner of torture in the prison and was now breathing more out than in. He gripped the bars of his cell, his eyes fixed on me. "Mei Lin, was it you who ruined me?" I smiled faintly. "Li Wei, no one ruined you. Your own ambition ruined you. I merely helped you a little, allowing you to become the princess's consort." Li Wei seemed to be in a daze, muttering, "The consort? Yes, the consort was supposed to lead to power and glory. How did it turn into this? I was supposed to bring honor to my family. How did it come to this? I was meant to be a great general." I gave Li Wei one last look, then turned and left the prison without looking back. 3 days later, on the day of Li Wei's execution, Han Zhang returned in triumph from a great victory, leading his troops back to the capital. Clad in armor, Han Zhang rode at the head of his magnificent army as they returned to the city. The emperor greeted them from atop the city gate. The entire city was filled with glory. There was no one who did not look on with envy. And at the other end of the city gate, Li Wei was forced onto the execution block. Amid the citywide cheers celebrating victory, his head was struck from his shoulders. And in the crowd, I watched from afar as Han Zhang drew closer and closer, his eyes shining as he walked toward me.